And welcome to the show, guys. Today in this video, we are going to be tackling this basement renovation. Basically, it's a gut. It's from 1974. It's a raised ranch. We're going to explore how well it held up because it was 50 years old now, and what are the weak spots so that we can formulate a plan for building our basement back. But the first thing we got to do is got to jump into this, and we got to rip out all of our subfloor. And I'm kind of curious to know how they built it, because it turns out that this looks like it's 3/4 inch plywood on something. We'll have to figure this out the old-fashioned way. And the best plan for this is to cut this into manageable sections. Just set the blade about 3/4 to an inch. Yeah, it's most likely just nailed, okay? With like 100 nails. Yep. Maybe you can grab the other end of that, get underneath there and give it a lift. Oh yeah, that's why you wear the hat. Here we go. We're all wearing hats just so that Nate wears a hat, because he needs to wear a hat. All right, let's lift this up and let's show everybody at home what we found. So somebody did a whole lot of work here. They've cut down 3/4 inch plywood, nailed it into the ground by hand with concrete nails, and framed each one of these sections of plywood. Now, it's not even all 4x8. There's a bunch of little pieces cut all over the place. So this is gonna be really interesting. I want you to just try attacking straight on, sliding into that nail at the plywood. Not the middle, right at the nail, yeah. All right, yeah, they're using a 1.5 inch concrete nail. So that probably is the easiest thing to do because it's weight. Wow. Yeah, it'll just pop right off. Down the middle wall here, this whole wall is a structural load. And you can tell because when you look up in the ceiling, the floor joist coming from one side, that's the floor joist coming from the other side, and they're all meeting up right along this wall, all right? And when we get into this closet, we've got an issue where this is kind of like back-to-back closets for the 2 bedrooms, but the floor joists are not consistent with where they meet up. So a lot of them are picked up on load over here, some of them are picked up on load over here, some of them are picked up over here, some of them are just cantilevered and in between. My plan is to come back and turn this into a bedroom and an office. That could be a bedroom. And so we're gonna rip all of this out. We're gonna build a new wall that's made of a 2x6, and it's gonna pick up all of this overlapping and create a new structural load wall right here as a separated wall. And we're gonna go with a 2x6 top and bottom plate, and then we'll stagger the 2x4s so that we don't get sound transfer. We can get sound insulation there as well. It's going to be a really good design. It's going to separate the 2 spaces so that in and down the road can buy this house and have real good quiet spaces, okay? And then, yeah, this is just about blood, sweat, and tears today, ladies and gentlemen. Brilliant. Okay. Boom. Piece of cake. So the plan here is to actually open up the space. So having a wall to separate the living space from the living space makes no sense. Come on, honey. Whoa, 3 nails, that's why. Yeah. Tear that off. We're gonna keep this one. That's picking up the load for the landing. This one, it's not being used for anything. And a little love tap there. And this one, of course, there we go. Brilliant. All right, brilliant. How much would it cost to pay someone on average to remove a subfloor? Well, over the next few hours, you're gonna see how much work we get done. We're basically a 2-man team, and I'm playing foreman. And so you'll be able to answer that question for yourself. How much does a laborer cost nowadays? I think if you're hiring a company, they're probably gonna charge you somewhere around $60 to $80 an hour for labor. But if you hire a couple laborers directly, then you can probably get a much better deal. We never talked about cost. As a DIYer, it's gonna cost you a few $100. If you hire a firm, they're gonna bring in an engineer, and then they're gonna work off drawings. To bring in an engineer, generally for an engineer to come and look at the property and then create a drawings and a schematic for it, you're probably in between $1,500 and $3,000. And then you're gonna have to pay the contractor to do the work and have it inspected by the engineer as well. So yeah, you're probably in the 5 to 10 range. If you do it yourself, it's a few $100. Just saying, it pays to be handy. I'll get rid of the studs that I don't want. And I think I want to get that one. Okay. Hoi. And I think I'm just going to take the Sawzall to this plate for now. I want to maintain this as a point load, okay? Okay. All right. There we go. Matt, you can come at it straight on now. Brilliant. You know, that's a really good question. Here, okay? You can see where you've got two different joists. They're meeting up and they're being transferred in the load, okay? There's only two reasons why a floor joist is going to sag. One, it's like this one right here. This floor joist here is cantilevered, and they pass and they're just a few nails in it. And if they didn't have structural support underneath that, and all it was the nails, then those nails will end up bending over time, okay? And those two boards will actually bend apart under the weight. And so that's one reason you can have a problem, is a bad structure. So if everything is dry and it's bad structure, yes, it's easy to jack it up. You want to do is you put in your post, you do a little bit every week, okay, every few days. You can go up another 1/4 inch or something, and you take it easy and slow so the rest of the house can adjust over time. If it sags because you've got moisture at the bottom of your wall, all right, and it started rotting out, then what happens is all of this starts to sag and sink as it rots out and goes to dirt. And if that's the case, then you've also got to deal with the fact you got bad building signs. So you got to open up your wall, repair the wall, replace the wall, get something in between the wood and the concrete so that you're not wicking moisture. And then once you've got all that repaired, then you can slowly jack up the wall again. It takes time. Like I've jacked up walls before that took 3 months. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you get a crack in your drywall, who cares? It's just drywall, right? You don't want to break your structure, and you don't want to have a sag continue because it's going to pull apart members at the roof line, and that's going to open up water infiltration. I want to, my staple hammer. I have it. Okay, I'm blind. Too many tools on my bench. So I got my staple hammer, and I've got my sill gasket, okay? So here's my plan. I'm putting in a temporary wall that I'm going to get approved by my engineer later, okay? So for now, it's officially being built as it's going to be a permanent wall, because if I build it right and my engineer approves my construction, then I can make a temporary wall to carry the load upstairs that instantly becomes my permanent wall. So I'm going to build it a little bit different because I think, pretty confident, I'm not going to have a problem with the engineer and the design. So we're going to put in a 2x6 wall, stagger the studs so that we can insulate both sides of this wall for sound transfer. The reason you want to do that is the wood has nails in it, and the sound vibration goes in through one nail, through the wood, out the other nail into the other room. And if you can isolate the drywall hanging on different studs by staggering the joist, then you get rid of a lot of the noise transfer, and then you have a continuous barrier with that sound insulation. Does a great job. Okay, so here's the basic plan. Here is my bottom plate. And I've already got it pre-cut because we didn't want to waste any time today. And if you're smart, you don't cut the tape. Okay, work from the inside. All right, and then when you're done, you can just stuff it back in there and the roll doesn't go explode on you. So what I got here is some 1/2 inch T50 staples. I got my sill gasket, and what this does is it just creates a barrier for the concrete. And we don't want to stretch it out. Nice and casual. Then when I install this, I flip it over, and this is it's like a plastic barrier, concrete to wood, so it doesn't wick moisture. I've also building this wall with 2x6 pressure treated lumber. Now the reason for that is because it's a structural wall, I have to build it before my subfloor system. I can't carry point load from upstairs, which is the plan because we're going to vault that ceiling. I can't carry that downstairs or carry any floor joist package on a subfloor package, because we have to get that weight right to the concrete. So this is what we're going to do. Back here, guys, this wall, I'm going to be putting rigid foam on. Okay, so it's a 1 inch thick. It's an R10 board. And then I'm going to put a 3.5 inch 2x4 Okay, so that takes me to 4.5 inches, and I want to leave an airspace. So that takes me to 5 inches. So I'm going to set this 5 inches from my wall, okay, bam. And notice this first joist that I got to pick up is at 5 inches, and so I'm going to pick up the whole 1.5 inches of that lumber, okay? And that's going to be my system. Now, we're going to want to set up a laser level, okay, and I want to pick up the sides of all of these, okay? And then that'll determine exactly where this bottom plate lines, because I want to have my top plate pick up both of these. So we're going to start it off of here, because I've got 3, 4, 5 of them in a row. So this one and then this one.
You wanted it right off the edge, or?
I'm going to go with go to 4 inches from the wall. So if you put the laser level over here and get my line 4 inches and throw a marker on that dot. Okay. And then I'll measure off over here 4 inches as well, and then we'll get that nice and straight. And I want to get this line just to this side of that concrete.
You want it on the
Where
line?
my finger is.
Where your finger is? Oh, you want to turn that?
Yep. So hit those two spots. There we go. That should be 4 inches. Yep. Don't touch. All right. Can I get you to just get a black mark front and back on the top now? There we go. We're going to get these marks in before anybody touches that laser line. And this is how we're going to just lay this out first. So one line there, one at the other end here, Matt.
On the stone?
On the ceiling right here. Just trace that line. Okay. And then one on the floor as well. Like where the wall is fine. There we go. Okay. Beautiful. We're going to put this into position. That's about my spot there. You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Hands off. All right. Now we're going to want to get some hearing protection. So here's our system.
Okay.
Simple. Okay. It's a ram set. Uses a 22 caliber bullet. The shot goes in here, and then we're using concrete nails. These are actually rated for, check this out, ram set. They made a new product here. It's rated for ACQ, which means pressure treated lumber. All right. A lot of people, your building code means you can put pressure treated lumber right into your concrete, and you can build your walls right on concrete. No plastic necessary. I'm going overboard because we're going to go back with the subfloor system. If I get moisture underneath of it, it's going to make contact with my bottom plate on my structural wall. So I wanted to have pressure treated lumber there. It's a great place to go a little overkill. Here we go. These are awesome. Just twist them, shove them in your hole. Boom. Okay. They expand in position. Is everybody ready?
Oh yeah.
All right. So we put the shot. We take your 22-inch caliber bullet. All right. Make sure it's clean. And then we take the shot and we put it in here. Now, you can put the nail in first if you like. We're going to go back here and we're going to slide it up slowly so that the bullet charge doesn't fall out or go sideways on you. Okay, that's closed. Now watch. That's pushed down and ready for contact. That's it. Pull this apart. There's my cartridge. Pop it out. We'll do it again. First off, we're going to do one at the other end. Now, I don't recommend doing this within a few inches of the end of the board, but 6 to 8 is perfect. Pressure. Now, we're going to just put in a couple more real quick in the body of this. I don't think it has any warps, but we're going to just guarantee it. I love the smell of gunpowder, man. There you go. We got a bottom plate. I'm going to start off with a 2x4 on that side, okay? So we're going to take this plate and roll it up. So I'm going to mark this out every 16 on center, like this. Okay? Basically, this is all I'm doing. Now, on the outside of the board, Matt, I'm also going to be doing 16 on centers, but we're going to put it in the middle. Okay? So we're here, and then here. Okay? Make sense? So there's a lot of marking that goes on here. So do all the 16s on the interiors and then use that existing line. Nate, you can probably just hold it on that line and you can mark both sides 16s as well. Okay? And once you got that marked, we'll stick it up in the ceiling. Okay, watch this. Stand right in the middle. Go back here a little bit. There we go. Okay, Nate, so here's the deal. I need you to kind of actually see what you're doing. Do you see that black line on the ceiling down there?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna show you. It's right here. That's where the edge of your board goes. And there's another black line over here, right here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this with my laser, because they're both cut the same length. Right here. We got 2 lines to look at. You keep it on the black lines, and I'm gonna slide it until my red line is perfect. Okay? Okay, are we in where we want to be? Mm-hmm. Everybody's happy? Mm-hmm. All right. For Pete's sake, what's a great time to not have any nails in the gun, man? Don't move, it's perfect.
They're hurting, man.
Okay, we good?
Yep.
Okay, and we still good? Still good?
Yep.
All right, I come down here. Excuse me. Oh. All right, I'm gonna check, make sure I'm on the right spot here. Okay, Nate, you can let go. All right, here we go. Now.
We got a quick hand for Nate.
Hey! Well done. Well done, son. We're just gonna throw a couple of nails in here. All right. Boom. Boom. All right. Oh, that's a heavy gun. I appreciate the small battery. All right. Here we go. Beautiful. All right. So, good. Should need to be hit. Tapped in. If it's not snug, it's not good. So what we have here now is space. So now when all the rest of this is ripped out, I can get my rigid foam in, adhere it to the wall, and then I can build my interior walls even up to this spot, right? And then throw a cross member from, like, you know, a few inches from each side. One horizontal here, one at the top, one at the bottom. I can tie all this together the old-fashioned way, so I can build it out of order. This is gonna work perfect. All right. Now, because we're gonna assume that this is permanent. There we go. Beautiful. Step 1. Step 2. And then
6 3/4.
3/8. Yeah, and the reason there's so much variance, partially, is because they built this house using hammer and nails. Partially, because the concrete floor is never going to be perfectly flat. Okay. And I like it. Beautiful. So this is our temporary twin wall. Let's just revisit our situation. That's carried, that's carried, that's carried, that's carried, that's carried, that's carried. They're all carried. Everything with a red dot on this wall, we're going to leave alone. Okay, that means structural. This is what we did. I walked around earlier and I just put red paint on everything. I didn't want them to accidentally rip out, because, you know, you get going on a job, you just start swinging. So I also marked out of the base plate. Okay, this is a way for me to communicate with the team. I'm going to get the first swing in. I'm coming at you though. Okay. Yeah, baby. Here we go. If anybody never had an opportunity to go rip the wall apart before, I'm telling you right now, it should be on everybody's bucket list in their life. There we go. That's just it, right? Tear all the studs out. And then before we go any further, grab that red bar. Let's peel the plates. Eliminate the risk of anybody getting a nail in the side of their foot. Okay, well, here we go. So there we got it. We got our first look, Matt. Isn't that something? So they definitely did something intentional underneath this concrete pour. Huh. I can't wait to get our engineer in here and have a look at this. So they've got a poured footing, maybe like a whole curb program, but it's not a solid piece. There's like sections. Very interesting. Whenever you're working like this, right now this wall is just on the concrete, okay? And I don't know how big that footing is. Usually they're 24 by 24. That's a start for a point load. And that was in the original drawings. But they've got, it feels like steel here. So they have some kind of a box built, made concrete in it, probably has rebar in it as well. Built another one here, looks like another one there. They might have just put blocks all the way along. We'll know more about this process. We're gonna be able to dig from the side and see exactly how they made the structural foundation. But for now, this is just carrying the floor joist package. and it's only a sheet of plywood. So we're not going to be doing anything above this until we get approval from the engineer. And this might be permanent wall, it might be temporary. That's why I'm saying we'll just do the one side for now. And if it's temporary, fine. And if it's permanent, fine. But it's the only way for me to get one wall in here to carry all these floor joists because they come at different spots. Who knows, maybe the engineer will tell us to put a temporary wall on each side, take this out, cut open the floor, pour a new footing. There might be a whole process. We'll wait and find out. But in the meantime, no reason to be worried about it. So in here is where we got the laundry, and on the back side is the plumbing for the bathroom. And our plan is to get rid of all of it, right? So we're gonna start right down here. Just disengaging everything so that I'm not carrying too much weight. Yeah, okay. What do we got going on up there? There we go. There we go. Now, right here, there's a pipe coming out of the ground and there's a joint. I'm gonna cut this right at the joint. All right, I'm not sure why it was a milky white substance coming out of there, but that's kind of disgusting. Now, because this is connected to the system, the sewer system of the house, that's a place where the gases can come in. We're just gonna buy test cap. Okay? That fits that pipe and it'll seal in the gases so that we're not gonna have any issues. All right, so same thing. Cut all the wires, right? Cut all the pipes. Get all this crap out of here. Let's tear out our walls. Let's finish gutting this place. We're just gonna not take out anything that's this one structural wall. Everything else can go. That's just in the way. Someone's gonna get hurt. Well, here we go. This is a 2x4. Very common. They were used to use these with steel tubs. They'd put that on there and then the steel tub would actually sit on there. The rest of the tub would be molded and then be returned, and the skirt of that tub would carry the load on the other side. But on the back side, it was on a 2x4. This is just a whole lot of nothing. Oh, yeah, that's bright. Oh, wow. Let's get that wall plate right out of there first. We're gonna get this one board here. There we go. There you go. We're basically at that point here where it's a lot of subfloor to lift now, eh? Okay. How did the under the floor look? Well, it doesn't smell as fresh as it did a few minutes ago. Wow, look at that. Okay, so now we see. All right. So this is trenched and then patched together. They did it the old-fashioned way where they would dig the rock and then just smash it with a hammer or sledgehammer, and then they brought the plumbing over for the bathtub. Wow, okay, whatever. And then this is just what? Dust. This is old plywood, like paper.
Wow.
Now this is because the wax seal wasn't consistent. Look at that, it's actually missing around the whole front edge. That's impressive. Well, listen guys, if you don't know how to seat a toilet properly, this is the damage that happens to your house. At the end of the day, there's one way to do it, and it's not alone. It is really hard to do a toilet alone unless you have it broken apart. If you're doing it alone, consider getting a rubber ring and not a wax ring, because wax gets compressed and pushed out of the way, and you can't self-level afterwards. It doesn't bounce back. Rubber does. All right. So this is the beginning of building science. Well, how do we finish a basement to put in a tiki bar? They came up with this crazy idea. Most people actually put down a sheet of plastic and then 2x4s on the flat and then put their plywood over top on that. This is the first time I've ever seen anybody use plywood strapping. So there's that. But like I said, no building code, all kinds of crazy ideas, eh? Yeah, that whole box is just a mess.
Yeah, we should probably just take it apart.
I think we should take it apart first.
Yep.
Throw the Salzoil right here, and then we'll just peel it off the wall. Take it as one piece.
Okay.
Okay? We get rid of this one support here, and this whole thing's coming down. There we go. That's got it. And then controlled drop. Okay. Oh yeah. Just because the wall is load bearing doesn't mean we got to keep the door jams. Oh, there goes there. Okay, we'll leave these two boxes alone for now. I mean, they're not permanent, but let's not get bogged down in the little details. It looks like you're free to go. Rip away. This is nailed into the mortar joints as a surface to install drywall. That's it. They probably put a piece of rigid foam in here, and then they just hang the drywall right to the strapping. That's just amazing if you ask me, but that's how we did it. Back in the old days, we just nail the wood right to the wall and then hang your drywall on her. Good to go. Back in '74, the cost of energy was so cheap, you could just turn the thermostat up, blow heat into this basement, and not even worry about having it insulated. Unbelievable. Not that way anymore, that's for sure. Grab a corner. There we go.
If I hit it.
More effective than not doing anything. Of course, to get down to the bottom. Oh, I'm surprised by the general lack of spiders down here. You know, generally speaking, whenever you have a humid environment, spiders do really well because you get all the water bugs that show up for the humidity. I've only seen, what, 2 spiders in the whole day? That's crazy. That just tells you how dry this is. There's no spiders, there's no bugs. Even where the rot happened, there's no infestation of bugs around here. I am so super pleased by this purchase.
Okay. 2-minute break.
I'm making this my recommendation for life, to buy a raised ranch. Oh my God, look at that. That's crazy. Eric, look how dry this is.
Awesome.
Like, it looks like a new build, for Pete's sake. Wow, some of these holes in the concrete are huge. Okay, I mean, it's about as dry as it gets. I mean, check it right in the corners even. You know, I mean, there's just a touch of moisture right in that very corner. And that's it. That's impressive. Wherever they had wood right in the corner, they had some issues. I love this. I mean, this is my favorite. Is that actually nailed in? Have you tried pulling any of those out? All right, just for full disclosure, the power is dead here. Let's see what, concrete now. Yeah, they concrete nails with plugs. Wow, that's awesome. Let's get the light fixtures out of here. Let's get anything dangling from the ceiling out of here so it doesn't dangle and fall. This will be interesting. I'm gonna share this little piece of knowledge. All right, so you guys all are aware, building code for staircases. It's rise and run. So you take the total height to the landing, all right? And then you figure out how many steps you need, with a step not being any more than 8 inches, let's call it, okay? So from concrete to the top of the step, it's 8 inches is normal. These are a little bit shy, and every one of these is a little bit shy of 8, 7 3/4, whatever. So it's consistent, okay? And we do the math with the rule of that every rise and run is consistent on that staircase. And the shorter the rise, okay, the backside, the deeper the run or the step is. Okay, so you take your casual walking, this is mechanical muscle memory, right? Now, if the stairs are shorter, the steps are also longer. So you don't have to lift your foot as much, right? So you're lifting from here or you're lifting to here. But you can't, in building code, have a different stair rise than the rest of them. So, when they had the subfloor here, they had 3/4 on top of that they were only 6 inches. And that made this assembly illegal. Now they built it before building code, so nobody caved for it for the last 50 years, but we got to fix this problem. So here's what we do. I have 2 choices. Because I'm on a new permit and I want to put a new subfloor in, I'm going to have the same problem. My rise is going to be too small at the bottom step. And what happens is people come downstairs and they almost fall because they catch the floor faster than they're expecting. Or they go upstairs and they almost fall forward because they're lifting and they're expecting the wood to be up here when it's not. What we're going to do is this. I could have 2 options. I could remove the staircase and get a brand new one made that fits with the subfloor installed. Okay, so we calculate a new rise and run. Or I can create a landing at the 3rd step. So if I build a landing instead of a step, that's 36 inches out and 36 inches across. This is now a landing. And there's room on that, according to code, for 2 steps, and then you step down. And the next step down can be different than the rest of the staircase. This is the same rule for decks, if you have stairs on your decks. If you have stairs coming onto your deck, and there's 1 step and you can go into the house, then the step from the deck into the house has to be the same rise as a step on the staircase. So be careful where you put your stairs. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to just build out a 36-inch box, create a landing, okay? And now I've got, the landing eliminates the need for me to have the same rise here as I do on the steps, okay? So a lot of you have asked me this question. I thought I'd throw that out. It's a great time to demonstrate it. Just build a box, the same height as this, 36 by 36, and you're golden, okay? Besides, it's kind of nice. You come down here, we're going to build this wall out a little bit further so that it won't look unnatural. And now we're walking straight into an open room because we tore all the extra walls out. Matter of fact, while we're thinking about it, we're going to tear these out too. We're going to just put in 1 banister all the way up. It'll be gorgeous. Okay, and then we'll add a door, building underneath here, have access to that space. Anyway, that's my plan for the steps. Let me know if you think that's a good idea, or if you got another solution to work around that you found that works for you. As far as I'm concerned, there's only 2 options. Love to know if there's a 3rd. And the 3rd option isn't pay off your building inspector. That's not right. Let's take a look at what they did around these windows, Mehdi. I'm kind of curious about this. This is like just facade. Oh man, how did they get that in? They nailed it and then they did the laminating? Yeah. They did the laminating on site with a router bit too, probably. That's impressive. Yeah, let's take it. Okay, and they used a particle board.
Does it normally come apart like that?
Yeah, particle board does. This is razor sharp, so be careful of that stuff. All right, there you go. Yeah, so that's just how they finish their windows. So it breaks anywhere they got the nail line. Yeah, same nails as the subfloor. And then we got the sides. Holy cow, that's a lot of facets. All right, so then we peel the sides, we can peel the bottom, we can peel the face. I just want to get in and have a good look, see how dry this stays over time. Remember, this was done 50 years ago. Here you go, check that out. We got spacers, a little bit of fiberglass pink. Again, they're using the little plastic screw caps here. This is awesome. Okay, there we go. So there's the original wood window. Here's the new window insert. Here we go, check this out. So 50-year-old frame. Oh, whoever the carpenter was that put this on, they did something right. There, that's why. Here we go. That's just a little bit of trim molding. It gave me more fight than the subfloor. So here we go. This is the original wood. And it's, you can see it's on an angle. So the bottom sill is angled out, so the water diverts away from the house. They put the new window on shims, and then spray foam the gap, but the old wood's still in touch with the concrete. It's in relatively good condition considering. I mean, I don't think I would expect that. Except house has got such good drainage around the outside that it doesn't get a lot of extra moisture coming back into the house. Even the downspouts outside go 4 feet away from the home. And so the way that works is that, let's call this the outside house. And here's the ground. Water runs along that ground to 4 feet. And then it soaks in, because it was in a pipe. And then it starts to work its way back through the clay soil. And by the time it gets to the building foundation wall in the basement, it's 4 feet away if it's 4 feet out. 4 feet deep. Well, this is 4 feet deep. That's my foundation wall. So I'm barely making contact with any residual groundwater. And that's why this wood is still in relatively good shape. There's a little bit of moisture here, but that's it. Wow, so we're gonna rip it all out and put all brand new in, but I'm just fascinated that even the concrete, the block, around a window where there's wood to pull the moisture into it, because that's what happens, right? The relative humidity of wood is always much drier than the concrete, so it's constantly pulling it in. So that means this block has got basically almost no extra moisture to pull into the wood. It's a dry house. It's just a dry house. I love it. It's like a gift. Okay. Well, there we go. That was fun for me. I hope it was good for you. You know, this is fun. Let me show the underside of the stairs. So above here was the bathroom. And this carries most of the weight. But from here to here, this was all drywall. So this lumber's been cut on purpose to create this angle for the drywall, which means this subfloor was supported by this 2x3. And then this part of the house that had a wall on it was supported by this little piece of 1x1. It's not supporting anything. It's really bad design. I'm actually going to go talk to the designer. I'm going to see about cutting this back a little bit to get to this point so I can start my ceiling from here. Okay? I would love to be able to redo some of this work and get a little bit more height out of my ceiling option. That's not a problem. But right here, that's really close. Like I'm not even that tall, right? I'm only 5'10". And you bring that down a little bit more and I'm only like 2 inches. I don't think these guys even clear this with their hard hats on. We're gonna open the floor. We're gonna be bringing the new shower here. We're gonna be encapsulating this window in the shower. So we're gonna have a video series coming up. We're gonna show you guys how to waterproof your bathroom window into your shower. There is a right way to do that so you don't get damage down the road. We're dealing with vapor management as well. This is the biggest issue when you're dealing with a window is vapor management. We're gonna show you all that system. And then here's our plumbing now. This is our main stack. We gotta bring that up. We got a second drain in the floor. That's nice to have two. We're gonna bring this up into the ceiling, carry it over to my bathroom. That's gonna be, my ensuite bath is the other side of the house, the second bedroom now. We're gonna turn that into a bathroom. We got to change a lot of the heat runs and the cold air ducts, get everything squared away, rip the rest of this copper plumbing out. All has to go. Get the rest of the electrical out of here. Oh my. We got a couple of days of work. Got to get the structural engineer in here. We're going to have a chat about that floor once we open this up. But I think Friday we're going to be able to get enough gravel out of the way that we can actually see how they made their structure and their point loads. And then hopefully we can tie that solution into how we're going to be holding up our ridge beam so we can vault our ceiling upstairs. That's going to be amazing. There's a certain element of danger involved in it. All right, guys, that's it for us today. That was a really productive day. We learned a lot. We know a lot more about this building. I feel better about this purchase now, actually. I feel like I won the lottery here. This is a really dry house. We're going to be opening up the concrete and then digging that out and learning about what we're going to do with the plumbing. And we're going to have our plumber in next week. We're going to film with the plumber. So we're going to have a great video series about how to run the rough-in plumbing. Cheers to everybody out there. Cheers to all of our members. Thanks for joining us. And if you got questions and you need help, consider joining our membership. Hit the join button. $5 a month. You can be a member. Jump on Discord with me. Send me pictures. We can have chats. There you go. All right. We will see you in the next live stream. Cheers till next time.